This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, and I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, host Jason Glick. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine, John. How about you?
Yeah, not bad.
Cool. Yeah, hey, and so, we're talking about Slam Dunk tonight, and if you've read the blog for a while, it's like you'd notice that I swore off talking about this series a couple months back when I actually made the mistake of going onto Amazon to check which is the last volume of the series. Turns out last one was 31, and they said, "Oh wait, there's only a couple minutes left in this game." I was like, "Wait a minute, you mean they're still in the same fucking game they started back in volume 25? Holy shit!" Okay, so I basically swore off that I'm not going to go on about this series until we get to the podcast. When the series is done, all 31 volumes are out, and I had a chance to read this. I just figured we were going to the basically this is going to be the anime version of Rocky. It's not about a guy who won, but a guy who went the distance. Because after 31 volumes, you're facing this and 7 volumes on one goddamn match. It's I figured, okay, it's going to end with them losing and just them going the distance. That's not how it turned out. But let's turn back the clock here. And also to help me turn back the clock here, I'd like to welcome back Myron to the podcast.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Myron, glad to have you back.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, because it's when it comes to talking about Slam Dunk, there's you, my friend Tara, who just thinks Sakuragi is the cutest, and like I said, it was not a hard choice to ask for your input on this.
Yeah, I mean this is a series I used to watch when I was a kid living in Okinawa, and talking to you earlier about it. At the time, Slam Dunk kind of emulated what was going on in the NBA. I've never read the manga, but from watching the anime, Hanamichi, he always had. Yeah,
let's point out here, even though he's never read the manga, when you're talking about Shonen Jump manga adapted to anime, it's basically a 1-to-1 ratio here. I mean,
yeah, fairly, yeah. Yeah,
they're just going to be trying to adapt the anime, the manga as closely as possible. If you don't believe me, well, there is the fact that, they made a whole series about Dragon Ball that was about adapting the the manga closely in Dragon Ball Kai. So Myron, please continue.
Yeah, during the 90s, the Bulls were, the hottest team in the NBA. And if you ever watch Slam Dunk, you'll notice the Shohoku high school team. Their jerseys are the same colors as the Bulls back in the 90s. And Hanamichi at the time, he always had the freshest Jordans and the newest kicks. And that was and even to today, having the latest sneakers, the trend, it's something to have. And during the time of Slam Dunk, even if you've never watched basketball ever in your life, this show is actually, or this anime or manga was actually a good introductory course in the game and fundamentals of basketball.
Yeah, and you are absolutely right about that, because I honestly could not give a shit about the sport itself. I mean, yeah, it's this is really shocking news, I can imagine. But this is a series, it's all about a sport I can't care about, but at the same time it was thoroughly compelling throughout its 31 volumes, even if it was a bit frustrating in its decompressed state for some of these matches. But let's back this up here, because we're talking about the whole series in total. I mean, we're talking about let's go back to the very beginning, and we're talking about this main character. You talk about Hanamichi, or Sakuragi Hanamichi, the main character,
a thug.
Yes, this red-haired thug with a pompadour, who's just the archetypal Japanese idea of a high school bad boy. And we're introduced to him as he's suffered his umpteenth rejection from a girl in in junior high. Just as he's going into high school, he's about to he's the baddest ass fighter out there. But at the same time, he can't get a girl worth shit. But then he's apparently his last girl rejected him because he wasn't into basketball. And so when someone comes up to him in high school and asks him "Oh, you're tall, you're into basketball?" He's like, "What did you say?" And it turns out there's this beautiful girl, Haruko, like, and he's like immediately in love, and he's like, oh yeah, I love basketball. So, and that's how the story of the rookie phenom begins. So, I mean, like, and the story is basically, how this guy who knows nothing about the sport, not even the fact that you're supposed to dribble between, like, when you're crossing the court.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes on to become like a major asset to this high school team who goes to national championships. And but also it works on both levels. 'Cause, I mean, like, yeah, you've mentioned it's got this like hardcore basketball knowledge as well. I mean, like Inoue is the mangaka, Takehiko Inoue. I mean, this is the series that made him as a creator. I mean, this is like one of the most popular manga of all time. Sold over 100 million copies in Japan alone. And we're not talking about all the copies that sold outside of Japan and all, because God knows, like, this series is still big business. It's one of the seminal Shonen Jump titles. They even named Chicken Bakuman. That's how much of a seminal title it is. But even then, it's like, it does provide a good ground up view into the sport itself, from just like from the fundamentals to the advanced theology as well. It's like it's really compelling, and even though it's like I don't care about the sport itself, it's still really engrossing to see like Hanamichi grow as a character throughout the course of the series.
Right, and I mean, when you're first, like you said, when you're first introduced to Hanamichi, he's a thug who, he's known to be like somewhat of a bully, and he gets into basketball, to impress a girl, and
all
I
for
think
the pussy.
Yeah, exactly. Pussy needs power, but at the same time, like, his natural ability as a fighter also kind of helped him build up his athleticism to getting into basketball. And like you said, when he first tried out, he knew nothing about it. He knew nothing of dribbling or whatever. All he wanted to do was impress this girl. But throughout the series, you learn the fundamentals of basketball with him, because, I'm not sure if it was like this in the manga, but in the anime, when Hanamichi would do something, do a move or a foul or get a technical called, you had a little guy, I forgot his name, a little guy who come out and do
Dr.
commentary. Yes, that's his name.
Yeah, they did that in the manga. It's like, Dr. T is basically like Inoue, just going on about his knowledge of the sport itself.
Correct. Yeah, he would come out to give you just a clue in on what happened and what's going on. Like, Hanamichi, he fouled, when hitting the player before it left his hands, and that's why he got a foul. Whoop de whoop. So I mean, I thought that was very interesting too, that those little cues or tie-ins would come in the middle of the game or the middle of the story just to explain the rules of basketball for you. And for me, I grew up liking the game of basketball, but I never was into it as hardcore as like my friends or my father was. But watching this anime, you got more of insight to it. So when you actually watched a basketball game, like Slam Dunk kind of opened those eyes for me. And the story was just charming altogether, because it was action packed, it was hilarious, and you were rooting for Hanamichi every step of the way, no matter what he had to do to get there.
Indeed, it's like, and one thing about you learn all sorts of interesting about the game. Like, the point where I didn't know that goaltending was like an issue in basketball, where you can't interfere with the ball as it's on its way down.
Right.
Yeah. After a player shoots it off. I mean, there's just one point where where after Hanamichi just smacks the ball out of the basket, the ref calls goaltending on him, and the ref has an aside, these two little panels where he goes, "Wow, I've never had to call goaltending in a high school game before." Huh. So it's fun things like that. But the series itself it does follow the whole Shonen Jump, I'm going to be the best at X for this kind of thing with through Hanamichi.
Right.
But also he does this Inoue does establish a very good supply of supporting characters. I mean, you've got Takanori Akagi, who I have to ask your opinion for this, Myron. I think Akagi, he's easily the blackest Japanese man to have ever have lived.
I agree too, because when you find like you find out that that's actually Haruko's brother, and you're like, huh,
Yes.
what? And he's like the blackest Japanese man I've ever met. But I go with it, and for me, growing up in Japan, there really wasn't that many black characters in anime, and as much as I love Dragon Ball, Mr. Popo was kind of insulting.
Yeah.
He Rukawa, or not Rukawa. Actually, yeah, I'm going to Rukawa. Rukawa was another pivotal character on that squad. He had
It's basically like Hanamichi's rival.
Exactly.
He's like, Hanamichi's like the ultimate newbie. Rukawa was like the ultimate ace rookie ace in this series.
Yeah, for me, the relationship between them was kind of like Goku and Vegeta relationship, in which especially Hanamichi, he always tried to outdo Rukawa because all the girls loved Rukawa. I mean, he was a basketball genius. He was handsome, and all the girls drooled over him. He was
like the silent brooding type.
Yeah, exactly. And even Haruko, had a crush on him. And every time you see those hearts on her eyes, every time Rukawa would, come by, Hanamichi had daggers or flames in his eyes. And that kind of helped him drive to become a lot better in basketball in the beginning of the series. And even what's his name? Akagi, his demeaning attitude towards Hanamichi kind of helped drive him too. Like, you're not good enough. Like, why are you even talking to my sister? Whoop de whoop. Like, in the beginning, those two characters helped him learn and get better at the fundamentals of basketball. And then, I'll let you explain later, but the characters that came later on, helped stepped up his game.
Yeah, Miyagi, like the short guy who initially comes off as kind of like a rival to Hanamichi, but then they bond over the fact that, hey, we both joined basketball because there were these girls we both really liked,
and they're both thugs too.
Yeah. Oh, but then there's Mitsui, who was like he was the junior high ace, but then he had an injury that caused him to fall out of the game, and he became even more of a thug than Hanamichi. I mean, we're introduced to him as he's trying to get the basketball team suspended,
right?
Fighting. And but then in true Shonen Jump fashion, he realizes the error of his ways, and he's won over by their passion, and he winds up joining the team. And he even gets his full set of teeth back as well.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, because I mean when we first meet up with him, he gets his teeth knocked out, but then when he joins the team again, he gets his hair cut to a decent respectable size, and his teeth are he gets new teeth as well. So that's fun as well. I mean, this Slam Dunk really did a good job of establishing a lot of the fundamentals of Shonen Jump that we know and enjoy today. The rookie who becomes the best there is at what he does. In Hanamichi, you've got the experienced mentor who in Akagi who teaches him who was hard but teaches him how to be the best. And you've got the rival who he eventually wins over through his passion and all. And it works beautifully throughout a lot of this run. I mean, but at the same time though, I will concede that if you've read the blog for a while, the first couple of volumes annoyed the hell out of me because, you've got Hanamichi, who I've heard all the hype about this series. This is one of the best Shonen Jump titles of all time, and Hanamichi's gonna make one of the best players. But at the same time, the first couple of volumes are really annoying because we're still dealing with the whole get acquainted part of the character. He's still more of a punk than basketball player, and we're not actually seeing him be a decent basketball man. And it isn't until around volume 4 or 5 when they have their first match with their arch rivals, Ryonan, that at this point I was kind of I think it was they were just dragging this on. Oh, he's just being an annoying asshole. It's I was reading this volume and it's I was constantly going off on all the stuff that was annoying me. Then I realized, wait, it's over now? But I was just getting into it. And it's this bizarre feeling that I had when this volume where I was just constantly ridiculing in my mind about what was going wrong with it. And then at the same time when it was over, I was wait, but I wanted more.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like and from there though, like Slam Dunk just goes goes right there. It hits its groove. And yes, it takes several volumes, but like Slam Dunk is really good. It's a good argument for the pros and cons of decompression in the sense that like the like early on, like in the first like say up around volume 15 or so, like like I liked how they get a good like makes it like matches per it's like per volume, like like they won't last like it's like a little start a match in one, then they'll end in the next or so, or maybe they'll end the one after that, but it doesn't like get too annoying. But then when you get to their match with Ryonan, it's like 5 volumes. I mean, it's like it's the rematch from their initial battle, but at the same time though, it's like holy crap! How did these people like enjoy this series while it was going on for this long? I mean, it's like just the fact that like the Ryonan rematch lasts for about 5 goddamn volumes was annoying as hell to me. But at the same time though, I will concede that Inoue, in stretching things out, really does a good job of like getting you into like the moment of a match when things change. I mean, because here's the thing that I love about Slam Dunk more than anything else, that it's not about the score, it's not about the skill. Well, okay, it's kind of about the skill, but it's really the one thing that's matters about every single match is the momentum.
right.
Yeah, because it's never about, because I mean, in the battle with Ryonan, I mean, here's the key here. I mean, I can't think of another creator who would have the balls to do a story where the main characters get a massive lead on the good guy on their opponents, and then stage the drama where their opponents start to come from behind attack. I mean, it's all with Slam Dunk. It's all about who has the momentum, who not necessarily who has the higher score at a given point. It's about which side is the game going for? Because I mean, even though like Shohoku has the higher score in their match with Ryonan manages to start like doing like a series of incredible plays in their rematch with it that shows them, holy crap, like we can't act like that shows them, hey, we've got skills. We're going to actually like take this game back from Shohoku. I mean, that's the thing here. I mean, my defining moment was when for the series that really like solidified my love for it was when I can't remember which volume exactly it was. But it was when they're fighting it was the match with Shoyo, when Hanamichi shuts down their lead player, but at the same time he fouls out of the game.
Right.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, it doesn't matter that like the Hanamichi wasn't there to like score the defining goal. That's for later. Trust me. It's like he what he did there, he wasn't in the last couple of minutes of the match, he shut down their momentum. He killed basically. Yeah, the game was still going on for there, but it was over as soon as Hanamichi showed them that this rookie could take down these experienced guys who've gone to the nationals. Hey, that was it. That was all they needed.
Right. And I think, earlier from what you said about how Shohoku's rivalry with Ryonan, how could it go so long, was because I think, especially with that team, that school, like Hanamichi met his match with Sendo. Hanamichi had his rivalries amongst like his own team at first, and they built their rapport and teamwork together, but then now they're facing up against other teams, other rivals, and it's like by the time they get to Ryonan, it's like, oh dude, like I can't get around this guy. Like, yeah, they were scoring on him fairly high at first, but then like when Sendo came out with the moves and the rebounds and the jump shots like he did, like Hanamichi was kind of flabbergasted at first, like, oh my goodness, like I can't get around this guy. What's up with this guy? And their team captain was like, that was Akagi's big rival. I think it's
Uozumi.
Yeah, Uozumi. Like that was his big rival. So the tension between those two schools, that was like their main antagonists, I guess you would say, for that series. Like anytime you would see a game in the anime from them, you knew it was going to be like a dope series, and it sucked for me having to wait each week, having to wait for that.
Yeah, it's like really, it's like the battle against Ryonan could have been like a series ender for them, but I imagine the series was just like so enormously popular that they just the editors at Shonen Jump said, no, you can't end it at the tournament. You need to keep going. They have to go. They're going to the nationals, so you got to show what's going to happen then.
Yeah,
and then after that, we get we get like a nice match where we fight against like one of like the real like villains of the series in their first match. I mean, but they do like Inoue does a good job of selling the fact that like that Ryonan is the Shohoku is the underdogs in the nationals. I mean, they draw a bum ticket going up against like this A-list team in the first round, and they pull it off because like that team, not because that team may have like better players than them, but at the same time they do not have the same sense of teamwork that Shohoku does, and that's what dooms them in the end. Because it's very Shonen Jump-esque in the sense that you've got like that whole shows you that friendship and working together is what ultimately wins, and that's like I said, that's satisfying there. But then the next match is the climactic one against Sano. Now Sano is not your usual big bad for a series. Sano has no ego. They are the defending champions of the nationals, and they're going up against Shohoku, and they to the point where these are the guys who just say, oh, like they're this like they don't look at Shohoku and go, oh no, there's this no name high school team, we're gonna cream them no matter what. These are the guys who like get a bunch of alumni to form a pseudo Shohoku team and fight them and take them on in a pregame match. And of course, they win because we have to draw drama here somehow. But what really works Shohoku is that they've got their own personal teamwork, and they also realize we're the underdogs, we're the bad guys in this match. They're not going to want to see us. The audience is not going to want to see us win against Shohoku, so against Sano. So we've got to go and be our best bad guy self. And it works for a good portion of this match, up until the point where after the second half, when they just, oh man, it's like Sano just dominates them. I mean, they don't just get the momentum, they get the scoring margin over them to the point where they get an over 20-point margin in the second half against Shohoku. And at this point, it's like you're thinking like, oh shit, man, what are we gonna do here? But then this is where Sakuragi's like phenomenal talent comes into play, because he looks at this and says he takes a forced timeout with their coach. I mean, Coach Anzai. I mean, I don't know how much I talked about him in the anime, but this guy is like beautiful.
He's the most laid back coach ever.
Oh yeah, he's the most laid back coach ever now, but he used to be the white haired devil before he got to this high school position.
Yeah, that's what they used to call him, yeah.
Yeah, but you get to see the whole white-haired devilness when he takes Sakuragi out on a timeout during the Sano match, and he shows him, okay, like, hey, Sakuragi, you're gonna sit here and listen and watch what's going on here. And it's like, don't see, and he shows him how Sakuragi's talent at rebounding is going to be the key to the game. And like, this is like 4 volumes from the end here, and it's like, we're talking like we're gonna the last 4 volumes take place over like the last 10 minutes of the match. That's how decompressed the series is. At the same time, you've got this beautiful moment where Sakuragi, because he's a goddamn punk, just when he gets back into the match, he gives Akage the Kancho to get him the finger up the ass to get him back into his game, and then jumps on the on the officials' table to say, hey, we're gonna kick we're gonna kick Sano's ass right now. And I love how Sano sees this and go, yeah, we like this. Because they look at this and go, hey, this is the team who is keep giving their best no matter what. Like to the very end. I I like how like Sano just basically it's not. None of these matches are rarely ever personal. It's always about, like them trying to be the best they can. And Sano, even though, they're essentially the antagonists in this thing, that's all they are. They're the antagonists. They're not the bad guys. To the point where, you understand their motivations and, like, why they want to do this. I mean, it's not just, hey, we're the, champions. We're going to be champions again. So it's like, we have something to prove every single time.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what makes, and to get into the last volume here, the last volume, like I said, said something, I was expecting this to be like, the Japanese answer to Rocky. Yes, it is, and no. Because the final volume, as any final volume should, contains some of the most thrilling moments of the series. To the point where, like, Shohoku does manage to stage a dramatic catch-up in the series, but also at the same time, like Hanamichi is also suffering from a near debilitating injury on the court. But but then at the same time though, he convinces the coach that, hey, this is the greatest day of my life. You're not keeping me out of this game right now. And I will say that yes, Hanamichi does provide the defining moment in this game, and it is glorious. And at the same time, though, it's also the aftermath is also bittersweet, because you understand that what happens next to Shohoku was almost inevitable after what they went through with Sano. So really, it's the series didn't really start off as awesome as I was expecting, but in the end, it did end as awesome as its reputation has said. It's like this is one of the best. This is like one of the best like Shonen Jump series ever. It's one of the series reasons why like Jump manga is the most popular like manga in the world, hands down. Because this is the series. This is the manga magazine that still sells millions of copies each week.
Mm-hmm.
When other comics like struggles in America struggle to sell like more than 100,000 copies an issue. So overall, I mean, like, yeah, it is about basketball. It's a sport I don't give a shit about. But at the same time, it tells a thoroughly compelling character story, and dramatizes the moments in the match. Even though it drags them out so goddamn long, it's like, in a way, his decompressed approach allows him to dig right into the minutiae of each match, show you when like the momentum changes, and like and how like a single play can define a match forever. It's like when Sakuragi Rya's, left hand stays loose. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's like I myself, I'm a big fan of the anime, and I recently, well, maybe not recently, like a few months back, came across the entire anime set at Frankenson's for $100, and I had to buy it because, that's a series. By the time I left Japan, I never finished it, and this is my second chance to finish it because they did release U.S. versions out here in the States, but I guess it didn't take too well, and they stopped selling it, and I guess they have the bump on Hulu right now. But if you have the opportunity to watch the anime or, read the manga, this is one, like going to what Jason said, growing up with Shonen Jump, like this is one of my favorite Shonen Jump series outside of Dragon Ball Z from like the 90s era. And, yeah, it always has a special place in my heart, especially the soundtrack. It had the bombest soundtrack back in the day, and it still does.
Yeah, I only watched like the first episodes when they were showing up at the Anime Club when I joined back in '97. But I'm sorry, I can't remember the soundtrack at all. But
you don't like it? Oh,
I don't know. I can't remember it. I mean, I remember Sakuragi like running across the rink with the ball in his hands, not dribbling. And the entire audience, the entire spectators, like face palming, right afterwards. But I can't remember him, the soundtrack at all. It's just lost at the seas of time in my head.
Oh
But
man, I wish I could play music over here right now. I'd bump it right now.
I think Crunchyroll is actually has Slam Dunk in their anime selections. So there's another way. There's another way you guys can watch it, or those listening to this podcast can watch it.
Yeah, because I've honestly never seen a sports anime that could touch this series. I mean, there's been so many out there since Slam Dunk, like Prince of Tennis, and there's another basketball anime out called Kokoro no Basket, but like this series had that charm that I don't think can ever be recaptured again.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the thing is, like, whenever I hear about Kuroko no Basket, it's always in the context of like some sort of like yaoi doujinshi, or like the fact that like someone in Japan is apparently like so fucking against the series they see terrorist threats whenever they hear some sort of event about it is staged. I mean, I don't know what's going on with over there, but it's like that's just great. That's just crazy ass shit, right, from what I hear.
Yeah, that's harsh. And even for me too, like I remember if any of you guys out there listening to this podcast, if you have a Super Famicom or Super Nintendo or even emulators, I mean, they made some great Slam Dunk RPGs back in the day for the Super Famicom. Along from the same developers who did the Yu Yu Hakusho games. It's more of like a strategy sports game, RPG style. So it's very interesting to check out.
Yes, I'm verifying right now. Crunchyroll does have looks like the entire.
It's like 108 episodes, if I remember correctly.
100
Yeah,
what?
108.
108 episodes. Yeah, they've
it's
got
about right.
them all.
Yeah, it's 100 something. Yeah,
So there's a cheap way for the audience to
Yeah, but I will say one thing. I will say that this is like the second sports manga I've talked about. I mean, comparing it to Cross Game, which is a baseball manga. I mean, it's interesting to see about how the approach they take that Mitsuru Adachi takes with the matches compared to Takahiko Inoue. His baseball games are a lot more compressed, but still very issued at a very slow pace, to the point where you're kind of like hanging on every moment, like saying, "Why won't you go faster? I want to know what happens next." That kind of thing. But in a way, he's like a lot more decompressed in the sense of, he's delving into every single moment of a basketball match. But at the same time, though, Slam Dunk is the better series because, anyway, knows to at least keep the romance on the back burner. Because with Sakuragi and Haruko, it's always just like googly eyes, like every so often. Yeah. And it's never made a major focus of the series. I mean, he puts it in there because he knows that, okay, we've got to have a romance in there because we want to appeal to everyone. But Cross Game, the romance in there was just fucking terrible, generic shit that never goes anywhere. But at the same time, you can tell that Inoue realizes, okay, I'm just doing this whole romance thing because it has to be in there. But at the same time, I'm keeping it at the absolute minimum that I can and maximizing the basketball action. Which is,
it's not only that, it's like what you just said too. I mean, what I liked about Slam Dunk too is it kind of reminds me of my times in high school. I tried out for a basketball team once, but it just reminds me of that era where you want to join the basketball team so you can become like a popular kid in school or impress a girl, or even when you do have basketball practice. I mean, you got to balance practice, your social life, your school, and Slam Dunk kind of touched on that, on all aspects of that factor. I mean, it was a show, an anime, a manga about basketball, but it also touched on not only Sakuragi's but everybody else's, like every other main character in that show. Like, it touched on their personal lives. Like when Hanamichi wasn't playing basketball, he was kicking it with his thug homies. He was like the leader. he was the leader of his little thug crew, and trying to oppress Haruko. And then you had Rukawa, like when he wasn't playing basketball, he was solemnly kicking it somewhere, like on the roof of the school or doing something. Like, it had a nice touch on getting in between games. Like, it touched on their personal lives as well, and you got to see them outside the court and how they are as a character.
Well, yeah, I know what you mean. At the same time, though, they didn't delve into high school after high school drama and anything. Yeah, it really did give you like a good idea of who these people were, like, beyond just being basketball players. But at the same time, I mean, a lot of the action was just focused like on the court itself. I mean, like, in a way, just like real a lot of their character through their actions on the court, and rather than just doing like a silly like high school drama and so, I mean, yeah, he did the whole, everyone here is failing. We've got to go and, everyone's got to go and, do super studying to make up their grades and all. But at the same time, this is just kind of like, he kept all the non-basketball bullshit to a minimum. And I love him for that.
Yeah, good series.
Yeah. So overall, it's like Slam Dunk, like a fantastic series. I mean, I know it's probably sold fuck all in America here because it's a sports manga, but Viz is probably only releasing it because they want to like promote like Inoue's image. But that's the right reason to do so, because it is a fucking phenomenal series. I love it, even though I can't give a shit about the sport. It's I loved rereading the entire series for this podcast, and it's like. And this is the reason why I continue to follow anything Inoue does, from this to Vagabond to what is going to be his eventual masterpiece, Real. It's like I am in this guy's court, to the bitter end. Myron?
Now let me ask you this before we end tonight. The manga you bought from Viz, is it like a compilation volume, or did you buy individuals?
Well, it's like it is single volumes right now. It's like they're just like Viz is just like you can buy each volume like 1 through 31. I believe at this point, because like Viz raised their prices from $8 to $10, like partway through the series run. You're going to be paying a little bit more, but overall, it's like I recommend going and buying it now because I can't. I'd love. It would be great if Viz could just say, release a nice 3-in-1, or like 3-in-1 for like the first, like, say 27 volumes, and then 2-in-1 for the last 4. But, it's like this series, like, it's sports manga, and for some reason, like, Americans, just don't like sports manga. They just want, fighting, or ninjas, or, like psychic powers or shit like that.
Yeah.
But, sports, games that Americans actually play, they don't actually buy. So that's crazy ass shit. Because people who actually like basketball, I'd love to know what they think about this.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, I think out here what you just said, the demographic is that, if you want to watch sports, you're going to actually watch live action sports. You want to watch anime, you're going to watch anime, which is Dragon Ball or, Kashern or something like that. It seems like the line here is separate. I mean, I remember Cartoon Network brought out the Prince of Tennis for a minute, and it didn't really do too well. I mean, I don't care about the Prince of Tennis, but I know for a fact it was a popular series in Japan and amongst, anime heads out here. But the fact that it didn't do too well kind of shows you, how well sports anime does out here.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I think though, like if you're a real basketball head too and you watch, NBA games every night, I mean, this is something to just check out, just to get your opinions on it, just to see like how well did this anime capture the game? And I think you'd be thoroughly surprised on how detailed this series actually was when it came to not only basketball but high school basketball.
Yeah, it's a basketball story that focuses almost exclusively on basketball and not, and like on a minimum of like dramatic bullshit from high school stuff. So really, it's like it's all basketball all the time. And if you're a fan of the sport, what more could you want?
Yeah,
so overall.
Exactly.
Fantastic series. I love it. It's like, and I'm like thankful for like that Viz brought over here, and I loved rereading it from beginning to end. Truly one of the defining Shonen Jump manga, and I recommend to anyone who's interested. John, any thoughts to wrap things up?
Nope.
Alrighty then. Okay, so to bring things to an end, like Myron, thanks for joining me again.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me, dude. I love talking about this series.
Yeah, always a pleasure. And also, like, for everyone else for next week or, next time, it's like, you thought it's the last podcast of 2013 and, you thought you were going to get away with it. You thought that I wasn't going to talk about it, but, hey, it's time for another podcast about Batman.
Oh, snap.
Oh, yeah, because Grant Morrison's epic run on the character has finally wrapped up with the release of the second volume of Batman Incorporated. And I'm going to offer my thoughts on all 12 volumes of his run. So, like, is it really the best Batman run ever? Or is it just, pretty good? So, we shall see.
All right, and we'll talk to you next time on Comic Picks by the Glick.
All right, night, everyone.
Bye.
Later. All right,